Welcome to this week's edition of the SWAC Zone. I am your host, the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. It is always a joy and a pleasure to open up the mic and share on the conference that we love so near and dear, and that is the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Here we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the right, and the wrong throughout the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So with all that being said, let us jump right into this week's episode. A very, very packed week when you talk about athletics at this time of year. We got March Madness, of course, going on. You're in the middle of baseball, and softball, track and field. There's just so much to talk about. But we're going to open up this first segment talking about the NIT and the NCAA tournaments that have taken place. Of course, the Texas Southern Tigers and the Southern Jags, the champions representing the Southwestern Athletic Conference, they were able to, as we say, represent, but took one on the chins, I guess each chin or each cheek, however you want to identify it. Southern University, they failed to Sacred Heart. They lost by 10 points. They battled and held their own for a little while, but as we said, they came up short, and their season has come to a conclusion, just as Texas Southern failed to Farley-Dickinson. Now, they lost by 23 to Farley-Dickinson, but let's give Farley-Dickinson some credit. Farley-Dickinson went ahead to upset Purdue, who was the number one seed, and they have shaken up the bracket as we already know it. I don't really mess with those brackets because I would never get them right, and I go against the grain most of the times. I like the story of the underdogs, especially at this time of year, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. This is a cannabis-free weekend for us here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and if you wonder what I'm talking about, I made a projection, and someone said I need to get off the weed, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But on the NIT side of things, you had the Jackson State Tigers. They lost to Memphis in the women's division of the NIT, and their season has come to a conclusion, just as it happened for the Alcorn State Braves. Alcorn just stumbled on the last part of the regular season, of course, into the tournament. They lost in the NIT first round to North Texas. So although Alcorn represented as the conference champion, they faltered in the SWAC championship, just as the Jackson State Tigers, and I shouldn't say championship, but I should say tournament. Both teams stumbled, and they got the NIT bids. And as we look at it right now, SWAC basketball season has shut down officially. So congratulations to all the teams that represented. You know, it is what it is. You fall short, you have to, they say, pick up the pieces and try to make sense out of all of this, right? Which is leading me to my next little portion of the NCAA basketball tournament. I was on record for stating that I believe that Howard would find a way to be victorious over Kansas. Now, I know I was going way outside the grain, but I was looking at some factors that Howard was one of the top perimeter shooters in the nation, not just in their conference, but through the nation. And anytime you get in tournament play, just as Farley-Dickinson showed against Purdue, they were nailing their threes. And I just thought that may have been the case for Howard. But nonetheless, Kansas prevailed, and they looked like a number one seed. And they shut down Howard in that second half. The first half was very competitive, and I was impressed. And I almost tweeted, but I held my mule. And I was like, I told y'all, but as I say, I held my mule and said, okay, we'll see what's going to be what. But they really and truly stood their own, and I really believe in my heart of hearts, if they were seeded as a 14, they'd have done fairly well against a 3 or 4 in that opening round. I don't doubt that at all. But, they're talking about venturing out to 96, which makes you wonder, will the NIT just fade away, and will they just merge all of that in together to make this 96 pool? And how would future FCS conference champions and tournament champions prevail in all of this? It's really something to behold, and I am really looking into the future of how this will all unfold. When they start whispering about these sort of things, they really, really begin to move in motion. And speaking of some whispers that have been taking place, a very hot whisper that seems to have simmered down quite a deal over this weekend were talks of potentially Dr. Charles McClellan leaving his post as commissioner at the Southwestern Athletic Conference and taking on a role at the NCAA office. But as the whispers come, the whispers go, and as for right now, all is well at the conference of the Southwestern Athletic Conference home office. So Dr. Charles McClellan, as we hear it, will stay in place at his role. And let me add that he has done quite a role, has kind of rallied around the powers that would be for the conference, and they're making some things happen. Now, we're going to talk, hopefully, in today's show, in a future segment, about where the media rights could be headed with everything that has taken place on the big scale and the smaller scale. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. What I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the potential impact that we as a smaller conference can have in two sports that I have been adamant about for a long, long time. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let me take this break, and we'll be right back with more of the SWAC Zone.
We are the station designed with you in mind. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, where we are serving the community through faith and athletics since 2002. We are located in Prairie View, Texas, where we are dedicated to serving the local community with sporting events, church services, and information. You're invited to tune in and to join us each Sunday morning for Temple of Refuge Ministries live broadcast, Building the Kingdom one soul at a time, Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Central Time. Each Monday through Friday, tune in to hear the Mike Prince Show as he covers the world of HBCU sports and beyond. This show has been the driving force for daily information when it comes to HBCU athletics. And tune in to listen to the SWAC Zone each Saturday mornings. The Open Mic Broadcast Network covers Little League, high school, and college athletics. We also broadcast local community parades and events. And you can check us out on YouTube for our latest content. If you would like to help us support our broadcast, you may do so by making a donation at www.obnradio.com. We are the station designed with you in mind. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, where we are serving the community through faith and athletics since 2002.
And welcome back to Radio Guy Dr. Mike Prince on this week's edition of the SWAC Zone. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. Our YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And visit that website at obnradio.com. Well, this first segment, we talked, of course, about the March Madness, the NIT, and the NCAA tournament results for the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and even the mention of Howard. And as we begin to dissect and break this thing down, we know that the playing field is not balanced. It's never going to be balanced. It's just by design. But when we look at apples to apples and oranges to oranges, we have a greater opportunity of success in two sports. And of course, I'm speaking of basketball and baseball. When we look at basketball, in the case of Farley Dickinson, their program comparable to the size of any SWAC program. And with the portal these days and some potential NIL deals, anything is possible with a little creativity, some hard work, and a pinch of luck. But, I have a theory about the word luck. Is there really a such thing as luck? When you break down the word luck, it's spelled L-U-C-K. And that simply, for me, means labor under correct knowledge. So when you look at the odds of making an impact in the NCAA tournaments on the basketball or the baseball side of things, especially with the talk of expanding to 96 teams, what I would love to see, number one, is not only do you get the regular season champion an automatic bid, but whoever wins your tournament an automatic bid. Because now you reward the regular season champion who went through the toil of taking care of business during the regular season, but that is all shot to hell in a handbasket if they stumble in the tournament. And that's the sacrifices of being a one-bid conference. But hopefully that it'll be something that we'll be looking back on as a past tense for the SWAC, the MEAC, the Southland, and all these other smaller FCS Division I programs. But it is really something that you could make a case that maybe if I invested slightly more in this basketball, because basketball, once you get to the tournament, if you happen to win, we know that it builds somewhat of a fortress of financial windfall as you begin to adventure and go throughout the dividends of winning in the tournament. And you can speak the same case for baseball. I know people talk about pitching. And when we hear pitching in baseball, we think about how hard someone throws. But I am willing to go out on a limb on more than one occasion that you could do a great deal of damage with pitching staff that not necessarily throwing heaters all day long, but know how to pitch and when it's necessary to throw strikes. Because the art of pitching is not about how hard you throw, it's about if you can keep the batter's timing off. So we're looking to see exactly how all of this can pan out in the very near future. So let's invest in basketball, let's invest in baseball, and let's make some dividends going throughout the rest of our journey. How about that? What I am going to do, I'm going to take another quick break, and as we get ready to sort these things out, we will come back with more of our SWAC Zone here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Keep it right where you got it. We'll be right back.
A Rocket Movers and Storage, located at 3354 Yellowstone Boulevard, Houston, Texas. Be sure to contact James Woods at 713-545-0658. If you're looking for movers, a place to store your items, or if you need both, our good fellas at A Rocket Movers and Storage can get you a 2-for-1. So head on down there now. That's A Rocket Movers and Storage, and let them know that the Open Mic Broadcast Network sent you. Also, be sure to listen to the Mike Prince Show daily by subscribing to our YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. The Mike Prince Show, dissecting Prairie View athletics and all news and updates surrounding the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And again, you can check out the show daily by subscribing to our YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the station designed with you in mind.
Let the nation, grow and get stronger, and we can have, other things in place that we would need in order to just compete on a regular basis. Changing the paradigm, the mentality here, where it's just, hey, we're going to come to every game, not to just homecoming or certain games. We want to come to every game. We've got a beautiful facility here, and there's just no excuse why this place shouldn't be packed every weekend, especially with the city of Houston right there.
Since 2002, the Open Mic Broadcast Network has been providing local and regional coverage for Prairie View A&M University, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, Blinn Junior College, Wharton Junior College, and Waller County, Texas high school sports. You can support the broadcasting coverage here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network by becoming a listening partner. Simply visit the website obnradio.com, and for as little as 17 cents a day, you can become a listening partner. That website again is obnradio.com, the voice of student athletics, serving the community through faith and athletics. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, Prairie View, Texas. We'd like to recognize our broadcast partners: Prairie View Athletic Club, Temple of Refuge Ministries, Panther Backers. If you would like to become a broadcasting partner, contact us at 832-213-8824. You're listening to the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics, Prairie View, Texas. All right, welcome back to the SWAC Zone weekend edition here from the Open Mic Broadcast Network. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, your host with the most. Hopefully you guys having a good weekend, a cool weekend, at least in our area. Had a cold snap that has somewhat affected the baseball and softball weekends, not only here in Texas, but abroad in Mississippi. Prairie View, both men and women involved on the diamond. Softball-wise, supposed to take on Texas Southern on yesterday, but the nasty wet weather caused a ruckus, and they postponed those games to today. Same for the case of Lorman, Mississippi, where the Alcorn State Braves reside. Panthers stumbling at 2-15 right now, trying to get things cleared up in the opening conference series against the Braves. And this is where the rubber meets the road, right? They'll be able to right a lot of wrongs and put that first portion of the baseball season behind them. Panthers were able to start out, a season opener with a victory over Grambling and had a home split over University of Houston of Victoria, and they've stumbled ever since. But of course, it's a new light when you get into conference play, so they'll be taking on Alcorn, and hopefully they'll come out with at least a 2-game win in this series. Meanwhile, on the softball side, Prairie View have somewhat of a larger task if you look on paper. taking on the Texas Southern Tigers, who had won 12 consecutive Western Division titles in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. It's absolutely amazing. We'll see how the Panthers get things corrected in that realm. Panthers coming in 4-15 overall in their softball campaign for 2023, but more importantly, they're 3-0 coming into this second week of conference play for them. They swept Southern at home last weekend, and so that's always good. You can kind of get some selective amnesia. At a 4-15 doesn't seem as bad when you come in at 3-0 in conference play. So we'll be keeping a monitor on both of those situations as they continue, as they say, to move on down the road. And speaking of moving on down the road, you got the Texas Southern Relays this weekend. Nasty weather to have for that, but it is what it is, right? They'll be getting things together. And of course, the PV Relays will be on March 24th and 25th. And speaking of the 24th and 25th, you have an opportunity to put an extra $1,000 in your pockets. All you have to do is enter into the raffle that is being presented by the Prairie View Athletic Club, who's been serving student athletes since 1986. They are providing you an opportunity to put cash in your pocket while helping Prairie View Athletics. And all you have to do is dial 936-857-5817 and get everything on the move. That number again, 936-857-5817. Man, time is really, as they say, flying right along when you're having fun, right? But we still got a little bit more to break down with you for this week. And what we're going to do is take us a quick break, and we'll be right back with more of today's episode of the SWAC Zone. So you keep it right where you got it, and we will be right back. If you have the opportunity of investing $100 to start your very own broadcasting business that could generate you anywhere from $300 to $3,000 of extra income a month, would you take advantage of that opportunity? If I'm speaking to you, dial 720-721-1558. Join us each and every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, for a word of encouragement from the Temple of Refuge Ministries. Simply dial 857-777-0000. Building the kingdom, one soul at a time. Temple of Refuge Ministries, Prairie View, Texas. And welcome back to the SWAC Zone. Radio guy Dr. Mike Prince coming to you right here. Look, we got a lot of things that we're doing here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And one thing that we've done, we have been so fortunate to help people throughout the course of the years build their broadcasting platforms, their podcasting platforms, and enhance their sports broadcast, and even their regular man on the street interviewing. And over time, I never looked at it, but people say, hey man, you really need to put some of this stuff together and help other people get involved and even learn the tricks of the trade. And that's exactly what we've done. We've put together a course that will help you from being a better PA announcer, sportscaster, color analyst, sports journalist, interviewer, and it's a very comprehensive, not too over the top, but some very typical and practical tips that are proven tips, not something that I've read in a book, but something that I've actually been practicing for 30 plus years in the broadcasting business. So we want to share an opportunity with you guys to be a part of that. Get this course in your system and begin enhancing or starting your very own networking online business. All you have to do is visit that website at obnradio.com. Go down towards the product section, and you'll be able to, as they say, enroll in the Open Mic Audio Academy. So go ahead and check that out today at obnradio.com. A couple of weeks back, I made the mention that maybe, just maybe, it's time for the Baby Dome to be put into retirement. When I speak of the Baby Dome, I'm talking about, of course, on the campus of Prairie View A&M University. Baby Dome has been under renovation projects multiple times, have changed the interior, a beautiful change as well, I might add. But there comes a time and a season where you must move forward. Sometime the actual structure, the layout, maybe time to say, hey, thanks for the memories, but we're going to move on down the road. And the reason I'm saying that is because it is not a undocumented cause of events as far as being able to get and broadcast off and running for visiting radio, even home radio. TV platforms such as HBCU Go and others have had challenges with whatever the internet structure and resistance of structures flow within the Baby Dome. And all I can possibly attribute it to is that maybe the material that the dome was built with, and not knowing that in the season that it was built, that we would be in a Wi-Fi, 5G network and beyond atmosphere. And I've said it for multiple years now, all internet is not equal. And you have challenges to get good quality connection in or out, one way or the other. So you have what you have in these little, as they say, millennial challenges of broadcasting. And I think that when you look at a basketball complex, maybe if you max out, I'm going to say 5,000 seats, but I like the fact of a close, tight environment. Just makes it so intense, especially for a rival matchup. I know people say, well, you get more people in, you get more money. And I get all of that. The root of everything is that home court, home field advantage. And when you can get people that are going bonkers with their programming and support, student section going haywire, and everybody's just feeling that vibe in a gymnasium of 3,000 tightly fit people. Man, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. And the Baby Dome has been a wonderful, wonderful piece of history on the campus of Prairie View. But I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, it's time for change. And speaking of time for change, Prairie View has done just that on the football side of things. We spoke with Bubba McDowell a couple of weeks back, and he was really, really hyped. He was excited about the new look Panthers and edition of the talk of the town with young men coming in the quarterback. Name is escaping right now. Johnson. Yes, Johnson coming in at quarterback, and everybody, like, man, this is going to be the one for PV. This is going to be the one. So what will happen? How will it happen? Will PV be in motion to make some things happen? New defensive coordinator. Of course, you got Mr. Fosselman holding things down now. He's elevated from D-line coach, special teams guy, to being that dude when it comes to the Panthers defense. And Coach Bubba is saying, hey, it's a new day, and we are going to let it do what it do. And if you don't like the way the train is rolling, as King George say, it's going to keep on rolling with or without you. So get on board or get left behind is what Bubba is saying. And I am truly, truly, truly fired up about what this football season is going to look like. March 27th, it all starts with the spring practices taken on, and the conclusion will be at the April 22nd Purple and Gold game. Panthers will get ready to, as they say, put their hats in the ring. 4 p.m. is the time for that event. And I keep saying about it, but I got to fact check and make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. But if I'm not mistaken, that weekend of April 22nd, Prairie View is hosting Texas Southern, I believe, in softball and baseball. In addition to the spring football game, that has a potential of being insanity in the spring. I'm dubbing this thing as spring homecoming. And it will be awesome to get that type of energy on the campus of April 22nd. So go ahead and check that out, and we'll keep you informed on either here at the SWAC Zone or the Mike Prince Show, which comes to you each and every day, Monday through Friday, with a new episode released between 7 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. each and every day. Man, it is so much going on, and in such little time, as they say, to get her done. But I am going to, as they say, exit stage left. No interviews this weekend. Hopefully when the dust settles, we'll have some interviews for this next week's episode of the SWAC Zone. But nonetheless, it's another one in the books. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Thank you guys so much for joining in with us. Don't forget, get your opportunity to support Prairie View Athletics as well as win $1,000 by participating in the Prairie View Athletic Club raffle. All you have to do is get in contact with them at 936-857-5817 and enter today. We want to thank the Prairie View Athletic Club, A Rocket Movers, the Panther Backers, and the Temple of Refuge Ministries. You can listen to the Temple of Refuge Ministries live sermons each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time by visiting the website obnradio.com, clicking on the Listen Live link, or you can also dial 936, or no, you don't dial 936, you dial 857-777-0000. Let me share that number with you one more time, 857-777-0000. I must get ready to exit stage left for right now. I am the radio guy. Don't forget, join us on Monday for a fresh episode of the Mike Prince Show. So until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.